Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody, and thank you for stopping by. Today, we have a lot of information to cover. As you well know, this week is Crypto Week, and within this week, we have the Anti-CBDC Act, they have the Clarity Act, and the Genius Act, all being discussed and being pushed to the House for approval. So we will see if this comes to light. If it does, all I can say is hang on, because we also have the Making America Crypto Capital of the World that's going to be discussed as well this week. Then also later on this week, they are wrapping up the DoddFrank Reform Act. So they're going to be changing up to Dodd-Frank. If you don't know what that is, it came in around 2007, 2008 during that financial crisis, the housing bubble and all that. All of these different government bodies came into place, and now they are being reformed and tightened up through this act. So stick around for that, because it is going to impact your investments, because it has to do everything with the financial institution. And it's no secret that this is why all this is coming out, especially as Ripple has applied for their bank license and also the master Fed license. And with all this information that is tied together, because that's going to help them get those licensures much more easier than they have right now. So stick around for that, because I think you're seeing Ripple take off, but we haven't seen it take off yet. So with that being said, as we do know, we have Crypto Week, and within that week, like I discussed, it's going to be the Clarity Act, Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act, then also the Genius Act, all being discussed, which is today at 4 p.m. is when they're going to have that Eastern time. So before we dive into that, let's look at the market and kind of get a quick look at it. As you guys know, Bitcoin hit $120,000. That's going to be huge. Then you also have it hitting 122 overnight, actually around 2 p.m. or 2 a.m., I'm sorry. This morning, it hit around 122,000. And then you have Ethereum hitting $3,000 finally, because Ethereum hitting $3,000 is breaking that resistance that we've been at for quite some time. Just as we've seen with XRP hitting that resistance of $3, just what was it, last night or today, it hit that $3 mark. So you're seeing the market move, and that's why that altcoin season is slowly coming up, because as you're seeing Ethereum building up, and you're seeing XRP breaking, and you also have all this news coming down the back end that is tied together and it's going to help push this market. Because when you have a 24-hour flow of 176 billion for Bitcoin or 33 billion for Ethereum, or you got 12 billion for XRP, that's not retail investment. That's institutions, that's finance institutions, BlackRock, all these things coming into the market in a big way. And they know all this is coming up on this week, and they already know it's happening, so they're moving their money and getting ready for that now. That's just in my opinion. Don't take that as financial advice. But look right over here at Bitcoin dominance. You do see it dropping to 63.6%, which is down 0.42%. Then you have Ethereum having 9.7 dominance, and that's up 0.4%. So again, when you see Ethereum take off and Bitcoin drop, that is your signal for altcoin season to hit. Because when you're losing that dominance for Bitcoin, that money has to flow somewhere, which is flowing into altcoins, is what you see here, and that's what you see in the past. But what's really driving that? Let's talk about it. Like we talked about, today at 4 p.m., we do have that meeting, and kind of give you a quick, description of what these acts are if you're not aware of that, if you're still kind of unsure. Right over here, you have the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. So Clarity Act establishes clear functional requirements for digital asset market participants, prioritizing consumer protection while fostering innovation by providing strong safeguards and long overdue regulatory certainty. This bipartisan legislation advances American innovation and reinforces America's leadership in the global financial system. So with all these acts and all these things we're covering this week, it's all about making capitalism in America great again. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it really has been taken over by all these different governmental bodies. And you'll see in these reports that they are trying to reform that and kind of restrict that power. And as you saw that power getting out of hand, that's why Ripple was so heavily prosecuted unfairly during these last 4 years of the Gensler reign, right? It's because they had way too much power, and the Dodd-Frank Act, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, helps reform that and kind of pulls that power back from them is what their goal is. So that's the Clarity Act. Then we also have the Anti-CBDC Act. So essentially, they don't want the Fed creating a central bank digital currency. They don't want that to happen. And it says the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act ensures the United States digital asset policy is in the hands of the American people, not the administrative state, which we have seen for these last, 15 years of this, essentially since 2007, 2008, it's all about the administrative state running everything. It protects American values of privacy, individual freedom, and free market innovations by prohibiting a CBDC surveillance tool that could be welded against the American way of life. And again, that's directly from the bill, and that's kind of the synopsis of what the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act is all about. Then moving on over here, we have the Genius Act, which is also something we've been waiting for quite some time. It says it provides a clear regulatory framework for the issuance of payment, stablecoins, payment product that is currently offered in the United States with little, if any, federal oversight. The Genius Act prioritizes consumer protection, fosters innovation, and strengthens the U.S. dollar reserve currency status. So all this crypto stuff coming out, it's all about making the U.S. dollar strong again. Right now, through the Bretton Woods Agreement, that is why we are the world's global dominance for the dollar. Everything's traded in dollar, but that's being pressured and that's being kind of tested by the BRICS nation. That's why we need these acts to pass, because we need to remain, if we are in America, sorry if you're not in America, but that's just where it is with how the world works. That's what the goal is of the United States, is to make that the reserve currency of the world and keep it that way, as we have for, since World War II, essentially. So those were the bills that's being covered today at 4 p.m. All those things are going to be covered. But right here on the 15th, you will see that you have the hearing entitled DoddFrank Turns 15, Lessons Learned, and the Road Ahead. That's for Tuesday, July 15, 2025 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And with that, they're going to talk about different ways to reform the Dodd-Frank Act. But right here, this kind of gives you the quick synopsis of it. It says the hearing will evaluate the real-world impact and unintended consequences of the Dodd-Frank Act, which passed 15 years ago in the wake of the financial crisis, which was 2007-2008, the housing collapse. It will critically examine the expansive regulatory bureaucracy created by the law, including the CFPB, the FSOC, the FOR, and the Federal Reserve's vice chair for a supervision position. So they're getting rid of the Federal Reserve's vice chair supervision position to help streamline banking and help get new banking systems in place. They're trying to clear all those road blockages, and that's what they're doing here. And with that being said, it says the hearing will also focus on the regulatory reach of Dodd-Frank and the authorities granted to the SEC. So right here, you're seeing them. They're trying to clean up and rule in the reign of the SEC and all these different government bodies that we gave power to back in 2007, 2008, when the banking system originally collapsed, right? They're trying to now reform that and restructure that so that does not happen again. But with that restructuring, you also seen that crypto coming in and taking place to make sure that doesn't happen. And then right here, lastly, we do have on July 16th, this is that rescheduled meeting on the Oversight Subcommittee hearing on Making America the Crypto Capital of the World, ensuring digital asset policy built for the 21st century. So right over here, you do have Fidelity Investments there, Blockchain Association, Crypto Council for Innovation, Coin Center, and Consumer Federation of America, all being a part of that. So this week here really is going to be Crypto Week. And with that being said, this information is very valuable for you to know, because when you start seeing these swings in the market, you know these whales are going to come in and just dump the market. And once this stuff gets approved and they get word of that, they get wind of that, they are going to dump the market, gobble it all back up, scare people out, shake the tree, right? Knock all that loose fruit out of there and gobble that back up. So right now, everybody's in this euphoric, oh, hey, things are great right now. Everything's pumping and it's fun. Yes, all those things are fun, but do not lose sight of the bigger picture here when you see things coming back down again, because what goes up must come down, and the whales are going to make that happen. Knowing all this information that's coming out, I just don't want somebody getting shaken out there. So understand what's coming for the week. Understand you're going to see some volatility for the positive and the negative. Just stay cool, stay calm, stay collective, and just be sure in what you're investing in is something that is worth investing in. RWAs right now are the thing to do, because as you see, the banking system is being restructured in real time right in front of you, and they're telling you if you're paying attention. So make sure you stick around and make sure you get this news and you figure out what's going on, and do not freak out do not sell anything before you do your research. I would highly suggest that. All right, so with that being said, I know it's kind of long-winded. I've rambled through a lot of it, but I was trying to get this information out fast as I could to you guys. Hopefully you did find something in this video valuable. If you did, please like,
subscribe and comment down below and let me know what you think of this week. And are you guys excited or you're not excited? Let's hear about it. I'll see you on the next one.